Hello, this is Sam Switchtrack here with the Charon View channel, and this time we would like to talk about Chapter 1, Little Railroad Planning. Now, us and trains have been together for a while. It all started way back when with one of those Marx O-gauge train sets that had the plastic couplers that tended to break. It was followed by a Marx HO, and with that there was some post-war Lionel in the house. That lasted for a while, and then it was necessary to move and things were disposed of, and that began a better quality of HO that turned into a small empire, and that was fun for a number of years. And then the interest in trains went away for a while, and sometime in the mid-80s we got a desire to acquire some post-war Lionel, and after getting some at some auctions and running around to some stores, built a nice layout for a while. And that was fun. Then it was necessary to downsize a bit, and it went to N-gauge, and that was great fun for a number of years. Then in the late 90s started to notice these wonderful new trains coming out in O-scale that were scale size and had sound systems and so forth. So at that point decided to make a move into what I like to call 3-rail O-scale. And the layout prior to this one was a 12-foot long and 5-foot wide layout that I learned a lot of things, and we decided to build this layout with that knowledge, plus some knowledge of all the other trains over the years. So now we'll talk about the planning, and let's get to it. Okay, here is a listing of our requirements for this layout. The first is it was going to be Proto Sound 1 based, block running, street level view based for scenery. Scenery easy to change, which means using real rocks and really no glue or plaster. 6 switch track arrangement, which I'll explain in a few minutes. 2 dead end sidings. 1 3-track parallel area. The setup is going to be rail junction based on the scenery, and the theme of the railroad really is rail junction based. All signals show upcoming switch tracks, and all must be viewable from the operator's chair. Table strong enough to support my weight plus real rocks. Storage under table for train boxes and train bins. Everything to be O-scale. Tin plate track with rubber roadbed, no O32, minimal O42, and the modeling era is mid-70s. Basically, depending on what rolling stock and vehicles are put on here, it could be made to look anywhere between 1965 to 1985. Also, in planning, it was helpful to use one of those sectional track planning software programs. So, the 6 switch track arrangement is basically this. You can see it's really 2 interconnected loops, reversing loops with an outside track loop. Now, the good thing about this is, if a train's coming from this direction and going here, it can go any one of the 3 tracks back. It can come back on itself or any of these 2 tracks. This one here would come back on this track or this track, and the same for this one, either this track or this track. The other side is a mirror image, so it gives a lot for operation and manipulation of trains, and actually one could run 2 trains at the same time with the intention of keeping them apart by switching. Okay, the next step in planning was to make those requirements fit into a 12 by 15 foot room. So the first thing considered was to make an around the room layout, which was possible. There was just a limited or a necessary short passage through one corner of the room. With that, it was decided that the outside circular track would just be a little too short for our taste. So that's how the configuration we have now came about. In addition to that, it was a good idea not to have to bend down every time to come in here and sit on the chair to operate the layout. It's a little more relaxing not to have to do that. The other thing we found is that we were going to make it all the way over to the wall. We're sure glad we didn't do that, because we do like to change the scenery items, and sometimes there's derailments and so forth. It would have been horrible to try and access that part of the layout. So we were happy we left a foot of clearance over there as an access so we can get to almost any part of the layout. So what I want to do now is to just show some of the features that I talked about on the list. So here goes. Okay, first of all, what I'd like to point out is the 6 switch track arrangement. Now this side is easy to see because there's one of them here, and the other one is over there, back over there. And those tracks come around, and here's the one in the middle switch tracks. Now this one is really a storage siding, so I'm not going to talk about that this minute, but here's another one of the 6 switch tracks, is this one over here. Then we go down over this end of the table, and here's the other 2 over here. This one and this one. Back over there. Now, this here is the part that made it possible to have a 3-track area where I could put trains and see them over 3 tracks, which I think looks pretty cool. So that other one comes down here, so it's like a parallel track for our 6 switch track arrangement. Then here's the 2 sidings over here. It was thought to make them so that they curved around this way, but it was decided not to do that, and we ended up with that arrangement. Now, to change trains out, we use these boxes. Now you can see here where these locomotives are in this box with foam packing. That's true of cars and every other piece of rolling stock we own. There's labels on each box for what's in there. Now, for about 6 locomotives and 30 cars, which fits easily on the layout, changing out to another 6 locomotives and 30 cars takes about probably an hour. Okay, the signals are all visible from this operator chair, and they all indicate upcoming switch track positions. So as the trains are run, we know which way it's going to go, and we can arrange the switches accordingly, even for going from one side of the layout to the other. There is one signal that does not indicate an upcoming switch track position, and that's this one here. This one indicates the position of this switch, and it's the only one with that orientation. Some switch tracks have more than one signal. Like this one here has 3 indications because of there's different approaches to that switch track. Okay, we'd like to mention one other thing about planning, that this entire room was cleared out and the track layout was laid out on the floor and completed before the table was designed. So the track was entirely put down on the floor, and then the table was designed around that. So let's move on to some scenery here. Now, vehicles are similar to the trains the way we change them out. We have them in boxes, and it's easy to change out, and takes just minutes to change out our vehicles. As I said before, it's street level viewing, so now we'll show a beautiful Santa Fe freight flying through here at street level. Well, this completes our segment on planning, and I hope you have enjoyed it. The lesson may be that it's great to have a plan. Now, next time we will produce a segment on operations. See you then, and have a great day.